One, two. Ac- Recording in progress.
There'll now be a moment for a silent prayer or meditation. Thank you very much, honourable members. Please be seated. May I remind delegates that the rules, in particular sub-rule 21, 22, and 23 of Rule 103 shall apply. In accordance with Council Rule 229, Sub-Rule 1, there will be no notices of motion or motions without notice. Honourable delegates, before we proceed to questions, may I take this opportunity and welcome the Minister of Higher Education, as well as the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, and all the permanent delegates in the House, the MECs and all special delegates, the SALGA representatives to the House. Further, I would also like to remind delegates that in terms of Rule 229 of the Council rules, the time for reply by the ministers to question is 5 minutes. Only 4 supplementary questions are allowed per question. A member who asks the initial question would be the first to be afforded an opportunity to ask the supplementary question. The time for asking the supplementary question is only 2 minutes. The time for reply to the supplementary question allocated to the minister is 4 minutes, and therefore the supplementary question must emanate from the initial question that was asked to the minister. Having said that, honourable members, I now call upon Honourable Minister of Higher Education to respond to question number 20 that is asked by Honourable Fanny. Over to you, Minister. You may take the podium.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. And thank you so much, Honourable Fanny, for your question. The plans for dealing with challenges facing the provision of student accommodation are as follows. The implementation of large student housing project, which is going to cater for 1,000 beds, through the Student Housing Infrastructure Program using funding from National Treasury's budget facility for infrastructure and debt funding from the Development Bank of Southern Africa and other development finance institutions. It is very important for me to indicate that between the 2021 and 2024, the department has delivered 9,721 beds through phase 1 of the SHIP, with institutions benefiting throughout the country: the University of Fort Hare, the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University, the University of Western Cape, the University of the Far University of Technology, Northwest University. And in terms of phase 2, there is Garsibande TVET College, Majuba TVET College, Tshwane University of Technology, and 6,500 beds are currently under construction. 2,000 beds for SMU and 4,500 for the University of Limpopo are also part of phase 1 and should be completed by 2027. SHIP is currently on phase 2, which has 3 clusters. Cluster 2 has been approved and the institutions are at planning stage. The department has submitted a BF1 funding application to National Treasury for phase 2, cluster 1, and 3 projects across 6 institutions, where a total of 10,700 beds are planned, as per the background, as per the following breakdown. Liphalele, Sekhukhune, Vhembe, Central University of Technology, Walter Sisulu, and Northlink TVET College. Phase 3 of the SHIP will be launched in the current academic year. It seeks to provide 45,000 beds by leveraging the land or buildings owned by the institutions or private developers. Phase 3 is targeted to commence in the year 2027. The second part of the question, the response should be the department is working with the Development Bank of Southern Africa in developing and submitting applications for budget facility for infrastructure and institutions debt funding. The fees is departmentally funded student accommodation are pegged against the NSFAS cap. However, the operations of the student accommodation is the responsibility of the institution in collaboration with NSFAS. The department has engaged NSFAS, students and universities on various issues relating to accommodation. It does not work with private service providers on NSFAS database as this will impact on good governance. It is NSFAS' responsibility to engage with the private student accommodation providers. We don't interact with them directly. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. I'm told that Honourable Feni has requested Honourable Mkweli to stand in on this follow-up question. Over to you, Honourable Mkweli.
Thanks very much, Chair. Then thanks very much, Honourable Minister, for your comprehensive response to the question. Honourable Minister, it is clear that the department has plans to address the student accommodation challenges through the student housing infrastructure program. My question to you, Honourable Minister, I even heard when you even mentioned the plans you had with the one of the region in the where I'm coming from in the Limpopo, Sekhukhune and Lephalale. But my question to you, Minister, is that does the department have any information on plans by NSFAS and the institution on addressing price gauging? I thank you.
Over to you, Minister.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. I wish to indicate that on the 4th of December 2023, the NSFAS board took a decision to increase the pilot to an additional 20 TVET colleges, totaling 23 and 17 universities in the pilot of the accreditation process of private student accommodation for the 2024 academic year. In December 2023, the pilot project ended and NSFAS is now implementing the NSFAS accreditation student accommodation program. Universities and TVET colleges will take over the management and administration of the private student accommodation, including the provision of the extended living and learning support. However, the modalities are still being finalized. I have assigned a task team that is inclusive of all these relevant institutions and stakeholders to look at the modalities on how best can we handle this matter. Hence, we normally receive some complaints around the safety and the conditions of the student, private student accommodation in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for the response. We are now moving to Honourable Brits.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Minister, given the fact that NSFAS are in place since 2015 and does deliver positive results in specific instances. However, recent press reports indicated that up to 40,000 people receive NSFAS benefits while they do not qualify for same. What measures are you taking currently to identify and eradicate fraudulent transactions within your department related to the scheme to make funds available for inter alia student accommodation?
Over to you, Minister.
Thank you so much, Honourable Member. We did receive those concerns looking at the various investigations that took place in the department. And we had an engagement with the SIU where it took us into confidence on the issues that they flag as irregularities. And amongst them is funding deceased students or ghost students, as well as some irregularities around student accommodation. Hence, I believe the honourable members are aware that we have appointed an NSFAS board, which is chaired by a woman. They are looking into the turnaround strategy in particular, which is going to focus on issues of infrastructure development and ICT. Because if we don't have proper systems within the sector, we are going to be facing those challenges. And the SIU, working closely with them, we are going to be ensuring that there is a consequence management to all those who are implicated in those irregularities. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, I'm taking this opportunity to invite Honorable Nobo to ask a follow-up question.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Minister, why has the National Police Framework or legislative mechanism not been developed to regulate the students' accommodation markets, particularly regarding pricing limits, minimum standards, and landlord accreditation? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Minister.
There are norms and standards on how to accreditate private student accommodation, of which linking to the question that has been asked by the previous honorable member, it is clear that the systems that we have in place are not responsive to the challenges that we are facing. That's why we are investing into ICT infrastructure development programs so that whoever is accredited meets the norms and standards of private student accommodation providers, because we accreditate them, but when you find out at the end of the day, the private student accommodation provider is not conducive for living and learning. So we are in a process of upgrading our system to make sure that we do comply with the relevant legislation as far as student accommodation provider services are concerned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Can I invite Honourable Machobeni to ask the Minister?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable Minister, lack of student accommodation for returning students and prospective students characterized higher education for many years now. And the problem of student accommodation can no longer be blamed on apartheid. 30 years after democracy, instead, the reality which we are faced with is that there are no resources to provide student accommodation in this country. This largely due to corruption and self-enrichment of the ruling elite. In light of this, what steps or interventions have you taken to address NSFAS funding delays, which also have a direct effect on student accommodation? As you alluded on, Minister, that you said you receive e-complaints. When these complaints to be addressed, because this thing of accommodation of students, it's long overdue. Thank you very much.
Honourable Delegate, over to you, Minister.
And thank you so much once more, Chairperson. In terms of the student accommodation, private student accommodation provision, all of us, we are aware that there are some challenges, of which I did indicate that we are working closely with USAF and SACPO, as well as SAUS and SAFETA, and other relevant stakeholders to make sure that we come up with mechanisms that are going to address the current challenges that we are facing in relation to private student accommodation. It's true that currently we don't have enough capacity to accommodate on campus. That's why we are also utilizing off campus, of which there are still some challenges that we come across as far as private student accommodation is concerned, especially those that are off campus. Amongst them is the issues of safety and the standards of those private student accommodation. But I'm hoping, because I'll be receiving a report from the task team that I've established on how best can we manage this problem. Amongst the other challenges that we're facing is around fiscal constraints. That's why we do this project in phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. But we're hoping that we are going to eventually meet the demand, but we are going to be utilizing both on and off campus currently, hence the challenge that we are facing. In terms of the delays, it emanates from the misalignment of data that takes time for us to receive it from the universities due to some delays in terms of metric results announcements, of which we are busy engaging with the DBE to see if we can't just release the results earlier so that universities can make decisions, and us as NSFAS were in a position to make funding decisions within no time. So currently we have to wait for them to register students, to accept students, and then once they've consolidated their data, they must then send their data for us to make funding decisions. I think with time, because I want to invest in infrastructure, ICT infrastructure program, where it is going to align with all the relevant institutions that are working with, your Home Affairs, your SARS for verification purposes, as well as the institutions of higher learning. Once we have managed to align our ICT infrastructure properly, I believe we are going to be in a position to arrest all the challenges that we are facing in student accommodation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, and my greetings to both Honourable Ministers in the House and all Honourable Members. We now move on to the next question, that is question number 9, that was posed by the Honourable Adriansa. Honourable Minister, that question deals with university courses for job markets. Your response to that, please.
Thank you so much, Chair. The department has initiated the program and qualifications mix as a mechanism to steer the sector towards a differentiated suite of education and training offerings. The PQM provides a roadmap to ensure that universities' strategic and enrollment plans are realized. The enrollment planning process considered the demands of the country's human resource development strategy within the context of the system's parameters and the government priorities. Enrollment planning enables the department to identify areas that require focused attention and where targeted enrollment strategies need to be implemented. Some of these targeted areas are identified by utilizing the scarce skills list and the economic recovery and reconstruction and recovery plan skills strategy, which was developed to ensure that skills shortages do not pose a constraint to the recovery of the economy by identifying the skills implications of the ERRP and outlining ways in which the post-school education and training systems will ensure that the skills required to be implemented. Then the department engages with institutions to agree on a number of envisaged by institutions in scarce skills areas, which process is followed by universities' success and graduation rates in the scarce skills area as reported and recorded in the Higher Education Management Information System. This is done to ensure that students' success remains a key consideration where institutions plan for academic offerings. In terms of the medium-term development plan, the department is planning to build a mining campus in Rustenburg under Northwest University. The aim is to increase access to scarce skills. In addition, the department established the Central Application Clearinghouse that is meant to ensure that the balance of applications that remains after institutions have met their enrollment targets can be assisted with spaces that are still available in universities, private higher education institutions, work integrated learning opportunities like the CETAs and other institutions that we have within the post-school education and training sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Honourable Adriansa, your follow-up question.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, Honourable Minister. Thank you for your response. I would like to aim this more specifically at what I wanted in this question, and this is, what strategies or partnerships are your department implementing to engage with the industry stakeholders to gather insights that inform the curriculum development in order to better align university courses with the evolving needs of the job market so that our students actually ends up finding jobs Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Adriansa. Honorable Minister, your response, please.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. In terms of partnerships, through the Human Resource Development Council, which is chaired by the Deputy President of the country, which ensures that the human capital development programs and initiatives that we bring in the country, they are responsive to the needs of the economy. The Higher Education Minister is the secretariat of that council. In that council, we have a number of academics and professionals who form part of the council, as well as the NEDLEC, where business community and business community and form part of that committee. So there is a reconceptualized human resource development strategy, which then seeks to address the challenge that you are raising of ensuring that we produce graduates that are either capacitated to venture into business opportunities or to be employable, which then addresses the mismatch that we are facing as the country. So our work that we do through QCTO, we make sure that we integrate with the industry so that the careers that we produce or the offerings or programs that we all produce in our universities as well as TVETs are in line with the industry needs. So this year we're planning to have a Human Resource Development Council Summit, which is going to be in Gauteng, where all the industries are going to form part of it, just to guide us as the government on how best can we then review our curriculum to be responsive to the needs of the economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question that comes from the Honorable Finnis.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the response. Honorable Minister, it is encouraging to note that the enrollment plan of universities is influenced by the Human Resource Development Strategy. What are the positive results of this enrollment plans? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Finnis. Honorable Minister, your response.
Thank you so much, Honorable Finnis, for the question. To illustrate the effectiveness of the enrollment planning, the 2023 graduate output target in engineering of 1,471 universities overall produced 11,851 graduates, which is 2,221 fewer than the projected engineering graduate, meaning the enrollment plan confirms that we must work harder to make the science attractive. Hence, we understand that in most high schools that we have, which involves DPE, our learners, they are not taking maths and science, which is one of the areas that we need to focus on so that we are responding to the needs of the economy. The same applies for targets for life and physical science graduates, which reached 10,218, which is 229 less graduates than the target of 10,447. In 2023, the proportion of doctoral staff reached 54%, exceeding the projected target of 52% by 2%. In the veterinary sciences, 207 graduates were generated in 2023, which is 27 more than the expected target of 108. This should be commended because universities were responding to the demands in the economy. Lastly, the engagements are underway to support the schooling system, to support and increase the interest in the STEM-related qualifications through our outreach programs that we run as the department and career expos, where we target rural schools so that students or learners can actually choose STEM subjects when they are in high school, and also consider taking those careers that we believe they are in demand in the economy when they enroll to programs at the university level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question is on the Honorable Eris.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Thank you, Minister, for the response on the previous question. However, I want to ask you what your plans you have put in place to bring subjects like you have mentioned your output on engineering, software development, developers, tax professionals, computer network engineers, system analysis, and most importantly, agriculture, because agriculture are one of the shortages currently in the country. And what is your plans to make this compulsory, as this is part of the scarce skills in the country? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Harris. Honorable Minister, I detected two questions there, but you are free to answer both if you want to. Otherwise, answer one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairperson, and thank you so much for the question, Honorable Member. We are trying by all means as the department to respond to the needs of the economy. And I think all of us are aware that the President has even established an inter-ministerial task team that is looking at the just energy transition skills portfolio, so that whichever programs that we come up with, they are responding to the needs of the economy. Hence, we are aware that we have committed on the Paris Accord in terms of the national determined contributions as the country. So we have a responsibility to make sure that we focus on the skills that are responding to hydrogen economy, to the skills that are responding to the electricity and EVC, as well as the skills that are responding to ocean economy and electricity stroke energy, where we look at renewable energy, of which most of our TVET colleges, they are offering those programs. However, we still have a challenge because we don't get enough numbers from basic education that meets the criteria for them to be able to be accepted in institutions of higher learning to enroll for these programs. That's why we are rolling out some programs targeting rural high schools of Career Expo, so that we encourage learners to enroll into STEM subjects, so that at the end of the day, they take career paths that are responding to the economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable van den Berg.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, to a large extent, we are all asking the same question, and I will do the same, but I'll try and twist it for you. So, Minister, for years we have made the same mistake to regard only a university degree as being successful. Yet, there are only so many professional job opportunities out there. Should it not be wise to embark on an incentive aimed towards student learners, but also parents and the community out there, to change the narrative that a blue-collar skill could actually be more lucrative than for a young person than having a professional qualification, because that indeed is the case. If so, do you have any programs that could perhaps speaking on changing the narrative out there? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable van den Berg. Honorable Minister, your response.
Thank you so much, Honorable van den Berg, about the question. It's true that we need to re-engineer our education system in the country. With our artisan development program, it's amongst the interventions that we have put in place as the department to make our TVETs attractive to learners, because when you look at the numbers that apply for university programs compared to numbers that apply for TVET programs, there is a huge difference. I think we did not do enough previously as the government to popularize what our TVETs can offer, because they have a wide variety of programs or offerings that are responding to the needs of the economy. However, we've taken upon us to advertise and promote TVET colleges through our outreach programs that we roll out throughout the country. I think we have even seen recently because when we're engaging student formation, they said the allowances that we give to university students compared to what the TVET college student allowances receive, there is a gap, which is an injustice. So we've also trying to align those with the recent announcements of the minister as far as student allowances is concerned. And what the challenge that we're facing is that when you look at the technology that we have in our TVET colleges now, we are using very old technology, of which we need to come up with a plan on how best then do we modernize our technology that we have, so that when they go out to look for jobs, they are competitive. And when we take them out for work integrated learning programs, they then meet the requirements and standards of the industry. So we're trying by all means to promote and advertise what our TVET colleges can offer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. That comes to the end of that question. We now move on to the next question, that is question number 21, that deals with reviewing the TVET curricula. And that question was put by the Honourable Mokwele. Honourable Minister, your response, please.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Honourable Mokwele, the Department of Higher Education and Training, through its TVET branch, has actively implemented several initiatives and reforms over the past 3 years to enhance quality, relevance, and alignment of TVET curricula with the industry needs, national priorities, as well as the National Development Plan. These reforms are pivotal for addressing skills shortage in critical sectors and ensuring graduates are adequately prepared for the demands of the modern economy. The key initiatives are as follows, of which we have actually developed some reforms. One is the integration of the new technologies and practical application. We have established 54 centers of specialization to enhance artisan training in critical trades aligned with the industry needs. The expansion of trade test centers from 1 pre-democracy to 35 today, increasing the number of certified artisans to meet the national targets. The phasing out of the outdated NATED report, which is N1 to N3 engineering programs in favor of the modern industry relevant occupational qualifications developed by the Quality Council for Trade and Occupations. The last examination for the final N3 engineering cohort will be this coming December. The introduction of new qualifications such as robotics and programming, chef, as well as photovoltaic technician, as well as computer technician. Investment in modern training equipment and technology to align workshops with industry standards, which includes fourth industrial revolution labs in colleges with a special focus on the following: robotics and automation, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, Internet of Things, renewable energy and sustainability, virtual and augmented reality, recognition of prior learning and learning management systems, smart drone technology, mixed reality, and automotives. So these programs are offered in various TVET colleges that we have in the country. For instance, your Ehlan, Gizeni, Lipalele, Northern Rural, West Coast, Moteo, Nkangala, South Cape, and many more. So if learners outside, they want to enroll to these programs, they can liaise directly with us as the department, or they must go to these TVET colleges so that they sharpen their skills and competencies and to also enroll to programs that are in demand in the economy, so that when they complete their programs, they are not going to add in the 3.5 million of young people who are not in any education, employment, and training. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The follow-up question, first one is from the Honourable Mokwele.
Thanks very much, House Chair, and thanks very much, Honourable Minister, for responding to my question. In fact, you even overlapped to my follow-up question, but for the benefit of doubt, For the benefit of doubt, Minister, if you want to elaborate further, Minister, my question is that how do the initiative of the assist with enhancing the employability of TVET students? I thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Minister, your response.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mokwele, for your follow-up question. We are trying by all means as the department to enhance employability of TVET students with the expansion of trade test centers from one pre-democracy to 35 centers nationwide, has increased artisan certification capacity and strengthening industry partnership as seen in the 2022 TVET industry partnerships and the 2023 TVET curriculum transformation summits. The expansion of work integrated learning opportunities through the structure and workplace-based learning programs, the annual set targets for work integrated learning programs in 2025-2026 academic year is 25,000. Investment in modern training workshops equipped with advanced technology is improving, and it improves practical training. The upskilling of TVETs lecturers through industry-based training to enhance curriculum delivery, we are also focusing on it. Despite some fiscal constraints, the department remains committed to ensuring that TVET curricula are responsive to the industry needs and national economic priorities. So we'd love to work closely with the NCOP to make sure that we preach this gospel in our constituencies, that students must also look at the variety of programs that we offer in our TVET colleges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable Machobeni.
Thank you very much, Chair. Minister, what steps of intervention have you taken to address the TVET college issues regarding the needs for specialized skills that teach those skills directly applicable to specific industries? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Machobeni. Honorable Minister, your response.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. I believe with the previous response that I've provided to say, there has been an expansion of trade test centers from 1 to 35 nationwide, which is then increasing artisan certification capacity. It's one of the initiatives that we have developed as the department or employed to turn around the situation. The second one is the Human Resource Development Council with the conceptualized human resource development strategy that is going to be tabled before the summit that is going to take place this year, as well as the Master Skills Plan, where we work closely with the industries to tell us that these are the areas that you need to focus on as you review or reform your curriculum in TVET colleges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from the Honorable Du Plessis.
Thank you very much. Honourable Minister, as you are aware, TVET colleges have been a problem for 20 years. You have listed a variety of solutions. I just want to find out from you what exactly is the kernel of the problem within TVET colleges. And I'd like to use digitization as an example. How are we implementing it within rural provinces to ensure people get the optimal feedback or the optimal training within that? So, Minister, you promised me last year that you will be the minister to turn things around. So I would love to hear what your answer is on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Du Plessis. Let's hear what the Honorable Minister has to say.
Thank you so much, Honorable Du Plessis. At least this year you are not asking me those questions. I see these ones are very progressive. Yeah, in terms of digitization, especially that we are in the fourth industrial revolution, I think I did mention some of the offerings that we provide in our TVET colleges, your artificial intelligence, your robotics, and so forth. So recently, the president has appointed another task team or committee or ministerial task team that is going to look at digital skills. As the department, we have a responsibility to provide digital skills in our country, be it the labor force or those that want to enroll for these programs. So this committee is led by Minister Meth of Labor because we want to respond to the needs of the economy, whereby we train people not for the sake of training, but train them so that they get opportunities or they participate in the economy. Be it through entrepreneurship programs, because Minister Ndabeni is part of the task team or committee, and Minister Pakstow is part of that. So we're working not in silos this time around. We're trying to coordinate our interventions so that at the end of the day we make impact. However, if you want to see some of the programs in relation to digital skills, visit some of our TVET colleges. You'll see the technology that we have in those TVET colleges trying to respond to digitization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Farmer.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. Thank you, Honourable Minister. How does the revised TVET curriculum ensure inclusivity, particularly for marginalized communities, to address the historical inequalities in access to quality education? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Farmer. Honourable Minister, your response.
Thank you so much, Chair. When you look at the nature of our TVET colleges in the country, they are actually addressing the issues of inclusivity and also ensuring that there is access to post-school education and training, in particular to those marginalized segments in our communities. You know why I'm saying it addresses the challenge that we are raising. When you look at the requirements of TVETs, be it you are going to enroll for critical skills that needs maths and science, the minimum requirement that is required by the university differs from the minimum requirement that is required by TVET colleges. By its nature, our technical and vocational and education training colleges, they seek to address inclusivity and to also expand access to the marginalized communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. That brings us to the end of that particular question. We'll now move on to the next question that was asked by the Honourable Mokoena. The question deals with the comprehensive student funding. Honourable Minister, your response to that question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honourable Chair. The comprehensive student funding model remains one of the priority or the primary objectives of the DHET through NSFAS. The department allocates funding to NSFAS to support two financial aid schemes. The first is the bursary scheme, which covers tuition, learning material, book allowances, living allowances, transport allowance, as well as accommodation for undergraduate students. The second is a loan that covers tuition, accommodation, and book allowance. The department has also encouraged universities to make concessions in order to support students who are struggling to settle outstanding tuition and or accommodation fees. In addition, for the 2025 academic year, adjustments in student allowances have been equalized for both TVETs and universities. Provision is also made to accommodate students with disabilities. The allocation of funds is always tailored to maximize reach for more students with maximum impact. Furthermore, entities which report to the department, such as the SETAs as well as NSF, have also been encouraged to support learners. The National Treasury and banks have also been approached, and various engagements are underway to find sustainable solutions to student funding. The department has found that there are some students who are struggling with historic debt. We are doing our assessment and engaging universities to ensure that data shared with us has been properly audited so that the solution we propose to government addresses the needs of students who really need relief. This process is also will also enable the department to engage universities on the question of interest imposed to student debt. Hence, most of the universities, they impose interest in student debt. So we are engaging USAF to come up with a solution in terms of financial sustainability and student funding as the sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We move on to the follow-up question, and I'm told that Honorable Majola is standing in for the Honorable Mokoena. Honorable Majola, your follow-up question.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you very much, Minister. Minister, from your comprehensive analysis you mentioned, does it include the cost of study analysis broken down into institutional type and allocation to accurately match the thresholds with the actual financial need of a student? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. We now move on to the Honorable Minister for response.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. Yes, the analysis covers everything. That's why I even said we are also looking at the student debt and see how best can we come with a relief that is not going to affect us as the department only. We need audited reports and documentation from universities so that we can make up our mind as far as student funding is concerned and also addressing the issues of student debt. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable Adriansa.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. Honorable Minister, could you detail the mechanisms for evaluating the effectiveness of the planned steps to support students, particularly in light of the requested audit report from the Select Portfolio Committee that we mentioned in the previous meeting that we had while you were in Japan, and how you will ensure the process remain free from corruption? Must I repeat it? Okay, let's go again. Could you detail the mechanisms for evaluating the effectiveness of the planned steps to support students, particularly in the light of the requested report from our committee, and how you will ensure the process remains free from corruption? So it's basically the detail of the mechanisms for evaluating the effectiveness and how to keep it free from corruption. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Adriansa. Honorable Minister, I hope you got the questions. But
Thank you so much.
Just one if you want to. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, what is twisting me is because I was not part of the portfolio committee, so I'm trying to link the question. I have no idea. I would request that the member give us, we are going to respond in writing. If we can be given this question in writing, we are going to be in a position to provide the response in writing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. You are welcome to produce an answer in writing, and I'm sure the Honorable Adriansa will welcome that. We now move on to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honorable Kaunda.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your adequate responses. It shows that you hail from the student movement and of Ugaibambe. My question, and we acknowledge the strides you are putting to transform this sector. My question, with all the shortcomings that NSFAS is faced with as the only available student fund, what is the contribution of NSFAS to the overall number of students in tertiary institutions, the milestones? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kaunda. Honorable Minister, your response.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you so much, Honorable Kaunda, for your question. You know, there is a lot of things positive stories that we can share about our reforms to try to expand access, in particular to the marginalized segments in our communities. I'm going to reflect on the progress that we have made so far between the year 2019 and 2020 and in 2022. NSFAS has managed to disperse to TVET allocation of 35 billion, which benefits 117,605 applicants. And we have managed to disperse to universities the allocation of 87 billion rands, and the total disbursements is 122. And then we've done everything to support our students to succeed, covering tuition, registration, accommodation, transport, meals, learning material, allowances, special equipment for students with special needs. We'll continue to make sure that we meet the demands, hence things are changing from time to time, and also from time to time to review our allowances if the fiscus allow us to do so. So those are the interventions so far that we have achieved as the department, and we are looking forward to expand access to post-school and education and training to our communities and the country at large.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. We now move on to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honourable Chirwa Mpongose. I believe she's on the virtual platform.
Yes, I thank you so much, Chairperson, and greetings to the Minister. Minister, numerous students in the TVET sector had received approvals from NSFAS. However, they were forced to drop out and not register at all due to the funding grid caps the department places on TVETs in relation to funding from NSFAS. For example, eThekwini College in KZN went from a student populace of 15,000 students in 2015 to only 7.5 students in 2025 due to these caps that are placed on TVETs that don't increase over the years and pay no cognizance to the students that are approved through the NSFAS system when they go into these TVET colleges. What is the cause for the systemic crisis and conflict? And how does the department plan on resolving this? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honourable Chirwa Mpongose. Honourable Minister, do you get the question? It wasn't very clear. I wonder whether the Honourable Member would like to repeat so that your question can be clearly understood by the Minister.
That is fine, Chairperson. I'm asking that how does the department plan on resolving the conflict with the grades that they place on TVET colleges as opposed to the students that get accepted by both NSFAS and these TVET colleges? Because the TVET colleges are not able to accept some of these students once they reach their grade capping. An example of this is eThekwini College, which went from 15,000 students in 2015, and now they only cater 7.5 NSFAS funded students because of these caps that they have. They're not cognizant of the increases of funding and the requirements of accommodation and all those things. So I want to find out from the Minister, how do they plan on bridging that conflict between the grid caps and the students that they approve on the NSFAS system, who then go to these TVET colleges? Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think the Minister has got the question now. Your response, Honourable Minister.
Thank you so much, Honourable Mpongose, for your question. I think I did indicate at the beginning that I have established a team where all relevant stakeholders form part of it to look at all the challenges that we're facing in the sector, be it the capping, be it the student accommodation, private providers, be it any other challenge that we are facing in the sector. This one is going to form part of, and historic debt, this is going to form part of those recommendations that the team is going to bring for the attention of the Minister. However, if you need specifics on top of what I'm indicating now, we can as well respond in writing to your question. Thank you.
Yes, please, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Minister.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Minister. We now move on to the next question, and that is question number 10 that was put by the Honourable Adriansa. The question deals with university courses. Honourable Minister, your response, please.
Thank you so much, Chair. The Department of Higher Education and Training as it is trying to reduce the supply of graduates in the field with low employment prospects such as humanities and certain administrative disciplines is guided by the National Plan for Post-School Education and Training, the reconceptualized human resource development strategy and the master skills plans as approved by the Human Resource Development Council. The Department of Higher Education and Training recognizes the autonomy of higher education institutions. The department may not dictate to universities which degrees need to have their enrollment reduced, but we are engaging them to say, just look at the programs that are in demand in our economy so that there is going to be a balance between access as well as success when our students enroll in our post-school education and training institutions. However, the department can use the steering mechanisms to guide universities towards fields that need to grow, taking into consideration the university's academic architecture, the physical and human resources, and the graduation and success rates in different fields. It is worth noting that the quarterly labor force survey, as released by the Statistician General, shows a decrease in graduate unemployment from 9.8% to 8.7% compared to the third quarter and the fourth quarter of 2024. The department has established a unit for career development services that offer career advice and information services to the public at large. The intention is to assist learners so that they make the correct subject choices for their desired careers. The department further presents enrollment targets for universities in the STEM fields. These are incremental and measured annually. The department leads career exhibition in high schools, which showcase the skills demand of the fourth industrial revolution, artificial intelligence, as well as the just energy transition. Career exhibitions by engineering and finance aligned SETAs such as MER-SETA, MICT-SETA, FACET, and Bank-SETA are amongst others who continue to encourage high school learners towards areas of economic activity, critical skills shortages. All the sector education and training authorities develop sector skills plan as directed by the Skills Development Act, which takes into account the sector profile, key skills, change drivers, occupational challenge shortages and skills gap, SETA partnership, and skills priority actions. These inform whether the skills required in that sector of the economy require learning programs such as bursaries, internship, learnership work, integrated learning, and so forth. As part of the sector intervention, all the SETAs offer bursaries which are aligned with the requirements of various sectors of the economy, whether it's construction, manufacturing, agriculture, and so forth. In addition, the department publishes the critical skills list, updates the report on the occupations in high demand. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. We now go on to the follow-up question. Honourable Adriansa.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. Honourable Minister, thank you for the extensive response. Yes, as you mentioned, re-engineering our education. Hi. So I want to ask you, you've partly covered me in your response about the exposure to emerging fields. What I want to ask you now, have you a measurable outcome yet on our increase in the enrollment in critical fields, in those areas, the subjects and careers that we need? So enrollment in universities, now that they have gone through all these processes, the critical fields, has there been a measurable outcome yet on an increase in this? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Adriansa. Honourable Minister.
Thank you so much, Chairperson, and thank you for the question, Honourable Member. As to date, we did not actually look at the impact as far as our interventions are concerned for all those who enroll into critical skills and the work that is done by our SETAs in trying to close the gap, as well as the career exhibitions that we roll out in our high schools. However, through our National Skills Authority, we are in a process of doing a proper analysis of checking how is the impact or where exactly should we improve if there are gaps that still exist. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We now move on to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honourable Aris, who is on the virtual platform.
Yes, thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Minister, South Africa already have high unemployment rate, both at national level and amongst the youth. Yet many students continue to enroll for qualifications, which seems not to be aligned with labour market requirements. What interventions, if any, have you taken to ensure that the educational curriculum focus on skill supply side of the youth labour market? And secondly, that students receive good career guidance. That's important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Aris. Again, Minister, I noticed that there were two questions, but it's up to you. Your response, please.
Thank you so much for the question. With our integrated approach that as the government we have undertaken, where we coordinate our interventions and initiatives in trying to address the unemployment, we are going to get it right. I think I did indicate at the beginning that there is a team that is working on addressing the high rate of unemployment, which is chaired by or convened by the Minister of Employment and Labour. DTIC form part of it, higher education and training forms part of it, as well as the small business. I believe that it is going to produce positive results. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Breed.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Honourable Minister, agricultural colleges have been shifted from the Department of Agriculture to your department. And I believe one of the members earlier mentioned that there was a shortage of skills in specifically agriculture. And I think Honourable van der Berg also mentioned that artisan development is necessary. But what initiatives and collaborations are in place to promote career guidance and counselling for students, ensuring that they are aware of the employment prospects in various fields before choosing what they are studying? Thanks.
Thank you, Honourable Breed. Honourable Minister, your response, please.
Thank you so much, Honourable Chair. As DHET, our responsibility is to provide skills to the citizens. And we do that working closely with the relevant departments and closely with the SETAs. I believe all of us, we understand that one of the SETAs is responsible for agricultural skills, which is AgriSETA. We have a number of interventions and programs that we roll out, be it career expos, as well as internships to those who have completed their degrees or diplomas in our post-school education and training, where we give them exposure, a workplace or work integrated learning programs, and we also give them stipends. Recently, I believe all of us, we saw the advert where it was out recently looking for graduates who have done these programs. I believe it is still out there. So those are the interventions. However, we had a brief session with Minister Mackenzie, Minister of Agriculture in Japan, not Mackenzie, you see. In Japan about this to see how best can we integrate our work so that at the end of the day, there is an impact. We felt we should not work in silos. We should see how best can we integrate our work, working together with Minister Steenhuisen. We are in that process of trying to coordinate our interventions so that at the end of the day, we see impact on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Finnis.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Thank you, Honourable Minister. Is it true? It is true that the department cannot dictate to universities and students which degrees they should enroll in, but can only advise. What role does the human resource development strategy play in addressing the graduate unemployment?
Thank you, Honourable Finnis. Honourable Minister, your response.
Thank you so much, Honourable Chair. The Human Resource Development Strategy was preceded by the review and reconceptualization of the previous Human Resource Development Strategy, and the Human Resource Development Strategy and the Master Skills Plan currently guiding the country was approved by the Deputy President and the Human Resource Development Council, which highlights an array of areas that students can consider studying. Furthermore, one of the key objectives of the Human Resource Development Strategy and the Master Skills Plan addresses how best the country can address young people, the unemployment of young people who are not in any employment, not in any education or training. This is a collaborative intergovernmental effort where we work with the professionals from various industries, academics, SETAs, and government departments. The Human Resources Development Strategy has outlined the following goals which guide the sector and used to monitor its performance. It improves employability of youth who are not in any education, employment, and training by increasing entrepreneurship development for NETs and increased work-based learning opportunity for NETs. It improves the responsiveness of the post-school education and training system to skills demands by utilizing labor market intelligence for skilling and planning and aligning skills supply to labor demand and to green and digital skills development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. That brings us to the end of question number 10. We now move on to question number 22, which was posed by the Honourable Baines, and the question deals with access to universities. Honourable Minister, your response to that question.
Thank you so much, Honourable Chair. In response to meeting increased demand, the department has allocated funding to Tshwane University of Technology to refurbish the old Guyane College of Education. The feasibility was completed and the campus is scheduled to commission in the next 9 months. In addition, the University of Zululand is also planning the development of Ulundi campus under Zululand district. The feasibility study was completed and we are busy with the concept designs. The department also has plans to build a mining campus at the University of the Northwest. The department plans to build 2 new universities, the University of Science and Innovation and University of Policing and Crime Detection. Both are in the Gauteng province. However, we are still soliciting funds, and this is going to be implemented through public-private partnership. The department implements the International Scholarship Program with partners across the world to widen PSET training opportunities to South Africans for bachelor's, master's, as well as PhDs. These studies opportunities are in the wide range of study areas, but prioritize the scarce fields of the study where local post-school education institutions have structural constraints in providing adequate study opportunities. Through DHET's International Scholarship Program, bilateral agreements are in place with various international partners, which enable the department to collaborate with partner governments and institutions to implement fully funded international scholarships. I think all of us who have seen currently there is a German scholarship, of which I would love all of us to encourage students, especially those who did not get any spaces in universities, to actually apply for that one. We have extended the closing date. These partnerships agreements enable the department to provide study opportunities to South Africans abroad and to address skills gap challenges. This further translates to the freeing up of resources with some of the costs and at times full costs being covered by the international partners. In some cases, the department co-funds some of the scholarship programs to strengthen the implementation of the programs and also to provide adequate student support to ensure student uptake, quality student life, as well as success. The department has a dedicated online portal where just over 80 international scholarships programs are promoted to the public and where scholarship calls are published for prospective students to apply online. From the 80 scholarships that the department promotes, it directly co-administers and funds 16 scholarship programs. We have a joint funded program with the following countries: the Chinese government scholarship, Hungarian scholarship, the Russian state scholarship, the Mauritius scholarship, the World in Serbia scholarship, the Irish Kada Asmal fellowship, the Swiss Government Excellence Scholarship, Moscow State Institute of International Relations, and the fully funded programs are DHET UK Scholarship, DHET French Scholarship, DHET German Scholarship, which is out already, DHET Africa Scholarship, DHET Japan Scholarship, DHET China TVET program, and DHET China, not in any education, not in any training, not in any employment program, where we're going to send out 100 learners to go and learn critical skills in China. And the other program that we have now is presidential PhD program, where we're going to be sending out 165 students who want to enroll for their PhD programs abroad and come back to plow back in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for that comprehensive response. We now move on to the follow-up question, and I'm told that the Honourable Kaunda is standing in for the Honourable Baines. Honourable Kaunda, your question, please.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for your response. We regard building of new universities as the long-term plan to address the high number of students who want to study and further their studies in universities. With the current financial position, Honourable Minister, that the government is faced with, this will not be achieved soon. Does the government have similar plans to the example the Minister has just given for the other provinces? I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Kaunda. Honourable Minister, your response.
Thank you so much, Chair, Honourable Chair, as well as Honourable Kaunda. The department has plans, but then in terms of trying to build new universities so that we also adhere to our constitutional obligation under Section 29 of the Constitution. The plans of the department, however, are hampered by fiscal constraints, and future expansion of universities will be determined by the finalization of funding of the current interventions. So we'll be looking at our fiscal capacity, whereas there are constraints, but we'll see how best then do we close this gap, because we need to expand at the end of the day, even if we do it in phases. Chairperson, thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Peter.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Evening, Minister. Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, South Africa's higher education system remains severely constrained, with over 100,000 qualifying students denied university placement due to limited capacity. NSFAS defunding leaves many students without financial support, forcing some, like those at CPUT, into their living conditions. TVET colleges were established as an alternative, providing critical skills and improve employability, yet they remain undervalued due to persistent stigma, severe administrative failures such as NSFAS, delays in institutions like Buffalo City TVET College and King Hintsa FET College, amongst others, further hinder access to such schooling, leaving students in debts, forced to drop as a dropout. In light of this, what policy reforms on public campaigns are being introduced to challenge the negative perception of TVET qualification, ensuring they are recognized as the critical drivers of economic development and youth empowerment? Lastly, and what immediate measures are being implemented to streamline NSFAS process, hold service providers accountable for delays, and prevent further financial hardships for TVET students, most especially those who rely on these funds to access education? Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Peter. Again, Minister, I noticed there were two questions, but it's up to you to answer. Thank you. Your response.
Thank you so much, Chair, for the question. As the post-school education and training sector, our aim is to ensure that there is access to post-school education and training. Our interventions that we put in place seek to expand access to post-school education and training. It is true that TVET colleges are undervalued. However, we are trying by all means to popularize our TVET colleges, because we also believe we share the same sentiments with you that they are critical drivers of economic development in our country, and they produce skills that are in demand in our economy. So working closely with NCOP, we need to drive this campaign to make sure that all young people who are still in high schools, they understand that TVETs offer a variety of programs that are going to assist them to be part of the economy. So in terms of the delays that you spoke about at NSFAS, you know, there is turnaround strategy that we have put in place. You understand that there was no board before. You understand that a number of executives were not part of the institution. So we are still trying to stabilize the entity. And we believe that it is going to take the shape that everyone will be proud of at the end of the day. A board is there now. It has been appointed. It is hard at work trying to turn around the entity. We are looking forward for their turnaround strategy that they are going to present before the minister. I believe the team is going to make sure that it also reaches the NCOP so that you see the plans that we are coming up with to turn around the situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Makasini.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, thousands of the students failed to gain access to the university. You responded, and the issues is the access because we don't have enough university. Does the department regard the University of Training as the only option for decent employment? If not, does the department have plans to redirect this student to alternative institution where the emphasis will be put in place on the technical training and education to avail funding social courses so that the student cannot be denied access to tertiary institution due to the lack of affordability of the space? Has their dignity, so that their dignity cannot so that they can claim their dignity and get an opportunity to be educated. University colleges like Elijah Bahai in Mpumalanga, if we can also reopen such colleges, I think it can also assist, because that college was the best college in this country.
Thank you very much, Honourable Makasini. Honourable Minister, your response.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Access is one of the critical areas that we seek to address as the post-school education and training, and we derive our existence in trying to execute this responsibility through the Section 29 of our Constitution. They are, as the sector, we're very broad. We don't only have universities where we provide programs or academic programs. We also have our TVET colleges and community education and training colleges. There are 9 currently in the country, and we want to expand this sector. We know that there are few people who are aware of this sector where people are trained on technical skills. So would love some of the students to also consider our CET colleges, because we also provide those who do not have a matric. They also enroll for that for them to be able to get that matric certificate, those who do not have in our CET colleges. It is one of the branches that is growing in our post-school education and training, and we can see the positive results that it produces. Other programs are offered through our SETAs, the occupations in high demand. There are a variety of occupational programs that are offered by our SETAs, of which we'd love for students to also consider them. Not everyone is going to be an academic at the end of the day. Some of us must be artisans, utilizing our TVET colleges so that we sharpen our school skills and competencies in our CET colleges as well as through our SETAs. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Godsell.
Good afternoon, Minister. My question relates to the second part of that question, and it is, given the Auditor General's recent reports, which found that the Department of Defence wasted 172.8 million rand when it sent South African students to study medicine in Cuba, rendering hardly any doctors or psychologists, and due to SAQA complications, no biomedical engineers. Do you agree that government has hopefully learned its lesson and that your department should simply prioritize, plan better, invest in local educational infrastructure, and stick to local curriculums, rather than trying to spend those funds outside of South Africa?
Thank you, Honourable Godsell. Honourable Minister, your response.
Thank you so much, Chair, for the question. Currently, I believe all of us, we understand that we have capacity constraints as the country. We cannot absorb all those who complete basic education requirements in our post-school education and training. That's why we emphasize academic mobility, where we send students abroad to study, because we have a constitutional obligation to fulfill of access to education and post-school education and training. So that's why we come up with other interventions of expanding access through our counterparts throughout the world. So as much as we are going to come up with a balanced approach of expanding access through infrastructure development in the country, but we are not going to cut ties with our partners abroad. We'll be sending students to study abroad so that they also bring those best practices in the country, so that all of us at the end of the day, we thrive as the country. And as the country, we also sponsored the Convention on Mutual Recognition of Prior Learning, where we are not going to have challenges when our students study abroad coming to the country. So those are the issues that we are addressing. As you know that in December, we'll be hosting ministerial meetings as the education working group here in South Africa. This is amongst the critical areas that we'll be looking at in trying to reform our education system as G20 countries. So we are international. We cannot reduce ourselves to be a region on its own. We need to make sure that we expand our footprint globally. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We appreciate your joining us in this house, and we thank you for the comprehensive responses to questions. You may feel free to remain with us. You may feel free to remain with us, Honourable Minister, and enjoy the ambience of the NCOP, or else you can take leave whenever you feel it necessary. We now move on to the next set of questions, and I call upon the Honourable Minister for Sports, Arts and Culture, Honourable Mackenzie. The first question came from the Honourable Finnis, and the Honourable Minister will respond to that. Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much for the question. The construction, refurbishment, rehabilitation and maintenance of sports and recreation facilities in terms of Schedule 5B of the Constitution is the constitutional responsibility of local government through the Municipal Infrastructure Grant, MIC. And for metros, the metropolitan municipalities through the Urban Settlement Development Grant, the USDG. However, annually since 2016, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture recommended funding to municipalities which are the custodians of sport facilities. From ring-fence, MIG, upgrading, refurbishment and construction in line with requests submitted by municipalities based on their needs. Beyond this, what I can tell you is that I personally have committed to the construction of as many as 100 multi-purpose courts per financial year at various schools, starting last week already throughout the country, which varies from basketball, netball, soccer, volleyball, tennis, and more. And Your Excellency, I must tell you, we've also begun with the repair of pools, including one that was opened last week in Gqeberha. After being derelict for 10 years, we're also rolling out numerous outdoor gyms throughout the country. My department is also considering the restoration of numerous community centers that have the potential for sporting and arts infrastructure in models of public-private partnerships and partnerships with other government departments. But I must also mention this. It has happened in the past where money that was meant for the upgrading of facilities through MIC has been used by municipalities for other reasons. And we have now come up with something new, that before we're speaking to Treasury, that before we give you the new allocations, we want to make sure that the previous allocations has not been used by the municipalities to pay salaries, because our sporting centers is in disarray. It is a mess. And the only reason why it's a mess is not that government hasn't given the money. It is the money has been repurposed and redirected. So the municipalities has a lot to answer, including the metros. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Good afternoon, honourable members, ladies and gentlemen. Let's now give opportunity back to Honourable Finnish for a supplementary question. Honourable Finnish.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for the response to my question. As indicated by your response, that sport infrastructure and facilities is the responsibility of municipalities. Is there a dereliction of duty from the municipalities? If yes, what has the department done to assist in addressing this problem?
Thank you very much. I think everybody in this house knows that there is a dereliction of duties. Because you just look at our sporting facilities. What has happened to them? It is non-existent. We must be honest about the fact that everywhere, from the Western Cape to Gauteng, there's no province that can say all the sporting facilities is 100%. That is the only action I, as the minister, can take, is to make sure before we pay the next tranche of money, to ask the municipalities, show us what you did with the previous one, and then ask Treasury that we must personally do that. I can tell you, Honourable Finnish, that, you know, it's very easy to blame government and say, this government is not looking after the government has made money available. Hundreds and millions every year. But the money is being redirected to pay salaries. The money is being redirected to make up for things that has not been budgeted for. But I can assure you, that is coming to an end. Because I'm not going to come here next year and answer questions, the same question that I accuse people of. That's now if I don't get reshuffled before that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honourable members, taking the process forward, the next follow-up supplementary question on question number 93 will come from the Honourable Gotzel.
Good afternoon, Minister. I see you've just dived straight into my question, which is great. And you must have picked up on, for instance, certain ANC governments' failures, like in Enoch and Kajima, where 15 million rand was spent on a football field or a football stadium, but actually that is just a barren piece of land. So with your new plan, what concrete measures are in place to address corruption, and to then ensure that there is accountability where you pick this up and before you make available this MIC grant, so that disadvantaged communities can actually benefit.
Thank you very much, Honorable. You know, I don't have the power to just willy-nilly keep the money back. I have to go through Treasury to ask permission to withhold the money, because I'm the conduit of the money from Treasury. We are asking for that permission currently, and the only reason why we're asking for that permission is to make sure that this doesn't happen. But it's true what you're saying about Enoch Ngijima, what happened there. But it's not only there, even pools in the Western Cape has not been opened and money has been made available. So this thing goes through party lines. It is not only an ANC problem. It's a problem of everybody that is in government.
Thank you very much, Minister. The next supplementary question comes from Ms. Ngobo, who is online. Ms. Ngobo.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings to honorable members. Honorable Minister, why has the department not established a dedicated, transparent budget specifically for grassroots sports infrastructure? And how are budget allocations tracked to ensure fairness in rural and previously disadvantaged communities? Thank you.
Minister, were you able to hear that?
I was not able to hear
that. Ms. Ngobo, your line is quite bad. If I can ask you to try again, pose your question, but if you can speak close to the microphone and fairly slowly for us, please.
Okay, I said, Honorable Minister, why has the department not established a dedicated, transparent budget specifically to grassroots sports infrastructure? And how are budget allocations tracked to ensure fairness in rural and previously disadvantaged communities? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Minister, I think that was a bit clearer. Can you respond, please?
Yes, I can respond. It is true, Honorable Ngobo, that, thank you for your question first, that rural areas has really been neglected. Rural areas has not been given the adequate facilities that they should have been given. I will concede to that one. Grassroots, like all sports in South Africa, except in the private schools, sports in government schools has really been non-existent. And what we have done this time, because I'm very passionate about it, we've made sure that our budget speaks to the rural areas. To show you, the first Combicot we have launched last week was in the Eastern Cape, in an area where the people were so happy to see us that they never thought we will come there. So that's only the beginning. We are going to, next week I will be in the Eastern Cape and Ikala. In the Eastern Cape, I will be in the KZN also to open sporting facilities. We are going to make sure that grassroots support, grassroots sports and rural people get, because frankly speaking, there's nothing in most of the rural areas that keep the children entertained. And that is for, and thank you for your question, because that for me is number one on our list.
Thank you, Minister. The next supplementary will come from the Honourable Suwisa.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister. Minister, many learners, especially those in previously disadvantaged areas, are only exposed and limited to certain sporting codes like soccer and netball. The ones that are lucky can also be exposed to volleyball. One finds that for poor Black learners, there are no other facilities for sports like volleyball, hockey, swimming, even cricket. What steps of intervention have you taken since coming into office to introduce these sporting codes, especially in previously disadvantaged areas? And further, provide for the infrastructure and which timeframes have been put in place in this regard? Thank you.
Sorry, members online, please, if I can ask you to make sure that you are muted. We are getting a disturbance from the online platform. Minister, please, if you can respond.
What you said, Honorable Member, is nothing but the truth. You know, kids in private schools, through no fault of them, is exposed to multiple sporting codes. Every black person in this room has never had pole vaulting at his school. Never had pole vaulting at his school. And this is just one example I'm trying to make, that a hockey stick is very important. You don't get those sporting codes in the disadvantaged schools. For the first time, we have stopped all purchasing of the usual normal ball and cricket ball that they always buy for the kids, for the schools. We have now made a list of things that are not available in the disadvantaged schools. For the first time this year, will schools receive equipment that they've never had in the schools? Because what you said is 100% correct, and that's why there was a 700 million rand budget to go and buy the same things they've done for 30 years. We stopped that, and we said we want to expose kids to all types of sports. It was not every kid, and I want to make an example of the truth of the question. Cricket, you get very good black cricketers, but they are bowlers. You don't get batsmen. That's good. One maybe. The reason for that is because to get a ball is very cheap, but to get the full regalia, the helmet, the guards, everything is very expensive. So what we've decided as a department is that this is the first year where we even changed the whole standard order of balls and nets. We are getting stuff that schools has never been exposed to. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Minister, for that reply. Honourable members, we now move on to question 78. Question 78 was asked by the Honourable Aris, and it asks about converting abandoned and dilapidated buildings. Can we hear your reply to that question, please, Minister?
Yeah, thank you so much, Chairperson. Honourable Aris, yes, my department is making interventions to convert abandoned and dilapidated buildings, one such being the conversion of the old abandoned St. Anne's Hospital, located in Pietermaritzburg, in the new KwaZulu-Natal Museum. We're changing that old building into a new KwaZulu-Natal Museum. In addition to the above, the department is mandated by the 2019 revised white paper on sport, arts and culture to create spaces for provincial art practitioners in 3 previously marginalized provinces, Limpopo, Northwest, and Mpumalanga. To date, the department has implemented the white paper recommendations as follows. Limpopo province, we've done the Limpopo Theatre. A newly constructed theatre is being built through co-funding initiative with the Limpopo province. It is currently at 80% in terms of construction progress in Bakoni, Malapa, in Polokwane municipality. DSEC has committed an amount of 45 million over a period of 3 years. To date, 17 million has been transferred to Limpopo Department of Sport, Arts and Recreation. Northwest, Mabana Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation Center. Northwest Department of Sport, Arts and Culture identified Mabana Sports Arts Center facility for refurbishment as a provincial theatre for arts practitioners. An amount of 13 million over a period of 3 years has been committed. To date, an amount of close to 4 million has been transferred to the provincial department. Mpumalanga, Secunda Theatre. Mpumalanga Department of Sport, Arts and Culture identified Secunda Theatre facility for refurbishment as a provincial theatre for arts. An amount of 13 million over a period of 3 years has been committed. To date, no amount of funding has been transferred to the provincial department due to incomplete consultation between the 2 stakeholders, MP DSEC and Govan Mbeki local municipality. In the case of community art development facilities, the DSEC has relied on provinces to propose derelict buildings as well as existing, which they deem fit for purposes of cultural activities. To this end, there are numbers of examples that can be cited. Eastern Cape, Port St. John's Arts Centre, an amount of 1 million was transferred to East London Guild Theatre as the implementing agent. The project has been completed. It was inspected by DSEC in February 2025. Paddy Art Centre, East London. Spread Art Centre, East London. Titicama Art Centre in East London. Western Cape, Darlington Cultural Hub. An amount of 1 million was transferred to Stan Foundation as the implementing agent. The project has been completed. It was inspected by DSEC in November 2025. Northwest again, Bakwena Art Centre. An amount of 750,000 was transferred to the Northwest Federation of Community Art Centers as the implementing agent. The project has been completed. So yeah, indeed, Chairperson, we are looking at that, and we are now going to the second phase, because what we also want to do is community halls. Community halls are standing empty. People use them once or twice a month. It is there, it's got security. We are now running a project where we want to turn that into theater centers, where children can train, where children can sing, they can dance, because at no cost. Because it's just standing there, and it was built with a huge amount of monies. In every area, basically, or most areas, has community centers. We don't want it, it is 5% utilized. We want to take it up to 80–90% utilization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honourable Aris, do you have a follow-up question?
Yes, thank you very much, Chairperson. Minister, I listened to your response, and I'm grateful that you mentioned all the provinces, you know, where you have tried to make these cultural centers, but noticing that there existed several abandoned buildings across the country that could be acquired by the art and creative sector so that they can transform into exciting new venues of cultural space. And further noting that converting abandoned buildings has the potential to increase community redevelopment and attract artists. Why has there been no collaborative effort across all provinces to turn these forgotten spaces into opportunities for redevelopment? And which efforts have you made to secure more funding for the cultural space? And because it always gets the smallest amount on the budget, and we have seen that in your budget allocation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Back to you, Minister.
I agree with Honourable when she says that there's a lot of buildings around the country that needs our attention and that we can convert into that. But I disagree with her when she says that more money, culture doesn't get most of the money. Culture, the cultural space get 1.7 billion compared to the sporting, which get less than that. More of our budget goes for culture than for sport. And if you say, what have I done to raise money for that? I'll make you one example. The National School of the Arts does not fall under me, but it was about to close and 500 kids was about to be sent home. I personally jumped in my car and I went to the school to go and understand what is the problem here. I realized that they have zero money. I then said, let me get all ex-policemen that died in service and soldiers. All the children can come and study here for free and the department will pay. And we will pay the money tomorrow so that the school cannot close down and the school can take the children. That project has kept that school open. We've raised close to 2.5 million rands for the school. The school is now open. 600 children are going to school. So it's not that we've done nothing. We have done something when it comes to that.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let's now pass the opportunity to Honourable Mokwele.
Thanks very much, House Chair, and thanks very much, Minister, for being in this house. You know that you are always be here. Minister, I want to agree with you when you are saying that indeed, before you allow or before you give a certain portion to the municipality or district, you must just first to check that what happened with the previous allocation, because during our provincial weeks, we have seen a very mess, in majority of municipality, where we found that majority of structure, they are abandoned, some they are not even completed, the service provider just went there. But Minister, when you were answering the initial question, you also managed to answer my follow-up question. But the only question that I want to check, with you, Minister, is that is your department have the program to convert this building? And then if yes, what are the details of this program, Minister? That is my own question, but generally, you managed to answer my follow-up question. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, our department, most of the buildings is not owned by the department. It's owned by Public Works. So what we are doing at the moment, we are doing an audit on which buildings are owned by the department, where we can have a say. Once we have the list, which I don't have at the present moment, but once I acquire that list, we are going to do the same that we're doing with Mabana Cultural Center, that we're doing with the Darlington Hub, the ones I've previously mentioned. We will not reinvent the wheel. We will just follow that same system to transfer this, to transform those into workable institutions or where art can be practiced.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let's now hear from Honorable Gotzel.
Minister. Minister, it's interesting that Ms. Aris from the EFF would suggest converting old buildings and museums when her party has been at the forefront of vandalizing history and historic buildings. If we look, as an example, at how the ANC, EFF, and PA Coalition of Corruption in Johannesburg has neglected the Johannesburg Library and the Johannesburg Art Gallery, what guarantees can your department make or give us that it will make good investments with taxpayers' money to convert abandoned or dilapidated buildings into cultural hubs or museums and to protect it from EFF vandalism?
Thank you, Honorable.
Order, please, Chairperson.
Order, members online, please.
I've heard the question. You know,
Sorry, Chair.
Pardon? I've heard the question.
Chair, sorry.
Okay.
Honorable Aris was raising a point of order online.
Beg your pardon, Honorable Aris. Would you take a seat, please,
Yes,
Minister?
thank you very
Honorable
much,
Aris, can we hear your point of order?
Chairperson, I think the previous speaker is out of order to make accusations like that, to say that it's the EFF that has vandalized.
That's not a point of order, Honorable Aris. Thank you very much. Let's give the Minister a chance to respond. Thank you, Minister.
Come to the House. May I just remind the honorable member that Mpopalati was the mayor in Joburg. Before Mpopalati, Mashaba was the mayor in Joburg. Yeah. Now, when you say PA, you guys have been mayors for 6 years in Tshwane. There's a 6 billion rand missing, according to the Auditor General. So now, you come here, the Good Hope Center is now being sold here in the Western Cape, while there's no theater that is state-owned. So let us not throw stones if we live in a glass house, because Gauteng, Joburg, has been messed up by the Democratic Alliance. Tshwane has been messed up by the Democratic Alliance. We are fixing stuff now. Be patient. We've given you 6 years to mess it up. Give us 3 years to fix it for you. We are getting there.
Thank you, Minister.
No, but you have no evidence that the EFF has demolished a building. Can you mention one that was done by the EFF?
Thank you very much.
I'm not defensive. I don't like I don't like a person to tell lies about people. If you say the EFF has demolished a building, tell me which building and which members of the EFF. Wearing red doesn't mean you are EFF member. Maybe you saw people with red.
I can sign you up, Minister.
What undertaking? No, I didn't make the question. You made the allegation. You didn't ask a question. Yours was an allegation. So I was dealing with your allegation. You said that we have messed up Joburg. So I'm telling you, you are the one that messed up Joburg.
Honourable members, sorry. Honourable Godsall, this is not a dialogue, please.
Let the truth be spoken.
Are you done, Minister?
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay,
Honourable.
thank you very much. Honourable members, not a dialogue, please. You get your chance to ask a question and then you continue. Agbare lede, dis nou die dag vir my gesê dat ek praat glad nie genoeg Afrikaans as ek hier voorsit nie. En ek weet as ek nou met die minister in die volgende vraag sit, kan ek nou gerus 'n bietjie Afrikaans praat. Dis nou my geleentheid. So ek nooi nou vir die agbare breed om haar vraag te vra.
Voorsitter, ek is baie jammer, maar daar moes 'n boodskap na u toe gegaan het. Die agbare van den Berg sal die vraag neem.
Ja, baie dankie voorsitter. Maar ek het nou beplan om die vraag in Engels te vra, so ek sal nou maar so maak. So, Minister, we spoke of repurposing old and dilapidated sports facilities. We have even thought of repairing them, but judged by the rate that a building can get demolished by some citizens looking for steel to salvage, have you considered, Minister, demolition as an Olympic sport? And if not, no, on a serious note, have you considered handing over these and repurposing these areas to the agricultural sector, for instance, for the use of agricultural parks and community food gardens? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable, for that question. No, I've not considered to give it over to the agricultural. It's such a good idea. I just heard about it now for the first time. It's really something that we would look at. But I also must say that there's this allegation that communities can't look after. It's such a wide allegation in South Africa. The communities don't look after the centers. It's not, we must be honest about the fact that the communities pay tax and the tax gets security and the security must look after the building. You can put any community, whether it's in Clifton or it's in Menenberg, there's always drug addicts living in that community looking for their next fix. So they will always steal from those buildings. I think where we fail as government, it is when it comes to security, securing the stadiums, securing the buildings. So I think what we have spoken about in our department is that we need to have proper security guards guarding this, and we need to have fines for the security companies to say if a pipe is missing or a window is broke, we must deduct it from the money paid to the security company. But I will really look at the agricultural thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Minister, we now come to question number 80. Question number 80 was asked by the Honourable Adriansa and relates to funding for cultural institutions. Can we hear your reply, please, Minister?
Thank you so much for this question, Honourable Adriansa. My department has mandated newly appointed Board of Directors for cultural institutions to plan and lead funding initiatives for growth and sustainability of all departmental agencies. The department also provided funding support for the refurbishment of centers in Northwest, as I've mentioned previously. So what we have come to realize is that there is no proper working relationship when it comes to culture and business. While there's a better relationship between sport and business. So what we are doing now, Honourable Adriansa, we are trying to get, starting with next week, with companies like RMB. We are speaking to different companies like Betway for them to get involved also not only in sport, but also in culture, because there was a disconnect with that. But also, we are consulting various private and public entities in soliciting strategic partnerships. Cultural institutions are directed to apply to the International Fund for Cultural Diversity, which is available through UNESCO. So all those funds has been there, but it has not been properly advertised to the people that you can access funding through the different channels and the different models that has been created. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable Adriansa, back to you for a follow-up question, please.
Thank you, Honourable House Chair, Honourable Minister. Thank you for the response. I want to come specifically to certain policies, especially in the engagements with these entities. Have you adapted and can you point to specific policies to support these smaller institutions that they don't be left behind in the fight for cultural preservation across all provinces? Because these aren't luxuries. They're investments in our shared past and future. We expect more than words. We expect clear, bold action for cultural equity. How will you meet this challenge? We heard you on the collaboration, but how will you meet this challenge as well? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. You know, it's not just words, Honourable Adriansa. We have the MGE, which is now, it's an open call in Zanzi Golden Economy, where these small cultural businesses can access funding. We have also a touring fund, where people that get invited to go and apply their trade overseas or in other African countries can apply. In fact, what happened in the department, the call for money was closed last month. But when I saw that 700 applicants read the rules wrong, and I went to go read the rules, and the barriers to entry, it was so difficult that it's very easy to get it wrong. I then instructed the department to reopen it, and to say that the rural kids don't have access sometimes to technology. I then said the department must now go on a tour in all provinces to go and tell people to come and physically also bring applications for money. Because in the past, the money was only centralized, majority in Gauteng, but in Western Cape. And the other areas couldn't access the money, but now we've changed that to say, leave the technology. It's not only the technology. My staff in the department is now going through all the provinces, and they're going to make a call, and people can physically bring their projects to the set place so that they can also access funding. So we have those things to say that in our department, you have instances where you have very good, talented people. We have now started to say, regroup, get lawyers. We're even making our lawyers available in the department because sometimes people get exploited with talent. So we are very serious about people accessing funding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable members, now let's recognise Honourable Kaunda for a supplementary question.
Thank you, House Chair. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for your good responses, especially to those who are anti-transformation. You did it adequately. My question, Honourable Minister, what are the results of the consultations with private institutions to create strategic partnerships? And does the department have any timelines for the reconstruction of Mabana Arts Culture and Foundation? Thank you.
Okay. You know, Honourable, thank you so much for the question. What I've come to learn, I always complained about the fact that corporate South Africa is not supporting sports and arts. That has always been my complaint during the time I was campaigning. But I subsequently found that our federations and our cultural institutions get money and they don't report back what they did with the money. That's then corporate companies can't give them the second chance. I can make you numerous examples, including in the sporting fraternity, where people have received money. Like I'll make you an example with swimming. Swimming got, I think, 18 million rand from the lotto. They're asking for 20 million rand now. But I said before, let me drive down to Franschhoek to go and see what this 18 million has done. You have organizations in the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. They've been getting money. Organizations like SIFSA. They've been getting millions. But when I ask, can I get the report back? What did they do with the money? It's not, there's no report back. So it's unfair of us to blame business. And I must publicly apologize because I was the one that accused business. We are now fixing, in fact, in 2 weeks, the first week in April, I'm meeting all the sporting federations. And then the week thereafter, I'm meeting the cultural institutions, including the one you've mentioned. Because I want to understand from them, what are you guys doing to raise money? Government is not your cash cow alone. Some of them are just there in the federations to receive this money and to fly around the country. But there's nothing they do for the artist. There's nothing they do for the creatives in this country. So I can assure you my next invite here, I will come with actuals of the action that we've taken against those people that have received millions. There's people, you will be shocked, Honorable Kaunda, if I tell you about monies that has been paid to people, and you ask the person, you tell me, why did you pay this person? He'll say, I don't know. I found this person being paid, so I just continue paying this person. Those things are there, and we are investigating all of those things. That's why you'll see a lot of complaints now coming from the usual suspects that has been getting stuff there without proper paperwork, and a real artist. I mean, you have artists, they don't even make music anymore, some of them. They are no longer making music, they are now just mining the department. And those are the things that we have to address. And I have to come here and come and tell the Honorable August House, NCOP, what has happened there and what action did we take? Thank you very much, Honorable Count.
Thanks, Minister. Let's go back online now and get the next supplementary question from Honorable Aris, who we're going to remind to please talk slowly and close to the microphone. Honorable Aris.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chairperson. Minister, South Africa has a vibrant art and culture and heritage sector. However, the creative and cultural industries are struggling and facing several challenges, such as a lack of vibrant markets and a lack of access to finance. Whether the steps mentioned also include securing funding for programs which will pass indigenous cultural knowledge to the next generation. If so, please provide details in this regard, because I know that the Older Persons Amendment Bill also try to, also address this issue of the passing of knowledge to the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Aris. Back to you, Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Aris. Let me show you what you were saying, Honorable Aris. That's so true. That our artists are poor. They can't, most of them can't even afford to bury themselves. We are always asked to bury them. I then took a deep dive with my team into the reasons. Why is it that artists in South Africa are so poor? Why is it that particularly Black artists, what are the reasons Black artists can't afford themselves? And we learn from the white artists. Why is it the white artists can afford to bury themselves? We found out numerous lessons from that. That firstly, the white artists don't price themselves out of the market. You can get a white artist at a price that you paid for 3 months ago, but when sometimes, and not all of them, but every time you get a Black artist, his price has gone up. And there's no structure when it comes to pricing. So we found that some of them price themselves out of the market. That's the first thing we found. The second thing we learned from the white artists is that they create a lot of work for white artists. So they can budget on the St. Oosterfees, the Klein Karoo fees. They got different festivals which they can budget. I'm going to play there, I'm going to play there. While our black artists, they don't know where the next gig is going to come from. Hence, they ask for a lot of money sometimes because they don't know will they even be booked again this year. So we took a deep dive to say, how can we sort out this problem? And now I'm coming to your question. What we've done, we called all of them. We called them, we addressed them, and we said, things are changing now. If you do writing, one side. If you do jazz, one side. If you do choir music, if you do mpatanga, if all the different genres, there were 17 sectors which we've done. We are now providing them with officers, of money for officers. We're providing them with money for legal fees. We are getting them structured because it's very easy to exploit them if they are divided. So for the first time in South Africa, Honorable Aris, will we in my budget speech mention all different 17 sectors which shall be recognized by this department, which shall represent, like for instance, the guys that doing Mbakanga. They have people representing them. The people that's doing creative dancing, they have people representing them. And the department is giving money to those sectors to make sure there's officers. They must have phones. They must be organized, because it's very easy to exploit someone that is not organized. Somebody don't know how to do an invoice. And those are the things that is happening. But for now, for the first time in South Africa, every sector will have a sector representation, including, we've spoken to ambassadors around to say, when you want to book a jazz artist, go through this channel. Even us with the G20 coming, we're going to go through that channel. And this is our way of making sure artists don't get overlooked. Artists don't get overlooked. And I'll make an example with one artist from KwaZulu-Natal, my yogurt. He's a young man that told me, no, he never get booked. I then said, come, I put him on one show. Somebody saw him there, now people are inquiring about him to give them the exposure. And that's what we are doing.
Minister, your time is up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
But I've got 11. Oh, yeah, it's up. No, sorry, it's up.
Thank you, Minister. The final supplementary question on this question number 80 will come from the Honourable Farmer. Honourable Farmer?
That must be a good question.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Honourable Minister of the People. And President of the party that will govern the Western Cape next.
Amen.
I would like to link my question to the funding part of this one. In light of South Africa not being able to field its strongest youth athletes due to poverty, what does the Minister and his department is planning to ensure that young kids' circumstances is not a hindrance for South Africa to field its strongest athletes in international competitions?
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, incoming Premier of the Western Cape. Honorable Farmer, it is a problem. You know, I always make the example with my own son, and that is what drives me. My son, the principal came to me when he was 10 years old and said, do you know, Mr. Mackenzie, your son is the fastest runner at the age of 10. He breaks records. I'm like, really? When my son was 11, we got him coaches. When he was 12, he was still the fastest. And one day we visited my auntie in Menenberg. And the children started running. And my son, that they say is the best, was outrun by an 11-year-old boy that is younger than him. He outran my son. The only difference between my son And that boy comes from a poor household with no opportunities. That's why a lot of the talent of South Africa gets lost in translation because of affordability. The best example I'm going to make in this house, and even it's the best example. There's a boy, his mother is struggling. He ran so fast, they took him to Kuro High School. That boy went to the Olympics. He got the silver medal in the Olympics. 4 months ago, I get a call. Minister, the under 20 South African youth delegation is stuck at the airport. They don't have money to go to Peru, and the flight is leaving in 2 hours. There's no money. Because I'm such a good minister, I got going. I phoned SuperSport, I phoned Betway. I managed to raise within 2 hours close to 3 million rand. That boy and girls then flew to Peru. When they got to Peru, Walaza broke the world record. He became the fastest under 20 in the whole world. Same time, the American government then offered him a scholarship. And he said, I'm not leaving South Africa because I'm here because of the government of South Africa. And he remained in this country. He is now the fastest man on earth, I'm told. The fastest on earth. Because if he financed money, Honorable Farmer, nearly robbed us of that talent. In the Eastern Cape, we saw a young lady. She was throwing what they call the javelin. She threw that thing, like the white guy that was with me says, it's impossible. Nobody can throw that far. So what I'm trying to say is that I hear you. It is our number one priority to make sure that poverty does not stop you from getting opportunity in this government of national unity. We're going to change things, even if some don't like it, but the things are going to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your passion. It's highly appreciated. But now we go to question number 95, asked by Honorable Feni.
Yes.
Question number 95, sure.
Honorable Feni, if you would agree with me, I have partly answered the question to say, are there any programs in place to assist in the careers? But I'll just go a bit further. The Cultural and Creative Industries Development Sub-Program within the Arts and Culture Promotion and Development plays a crucial role in expanding market access, fostering inclusivity, and stimulating economic growth in the creative sector and providing opportunities for growth. Over the medium-term expenditure framework period, this sub-program supports initiatives that enhance both local and international markets opportunity. In 2025-26, key investment, including a ring-fence budget to facilitate 34 creative industry projects, ensuring artists and cultural enterprises gain greater exposure and traction. Additionally, 16 cultural and creative industry bodies will receive assistance in forming governing boards, reinforcing sector governance, and programmatic sustainability. Programs that are designed to assist artists in their careers are as follows. The ABC Mutsepe South African School Choral Championship is a mass participation program implemented jointly with the Department of Basic Education and happens annually. SASKE uses the traditional choral music genre as a foundation within the context of the curriculum assessment policy statement. Winners of provincial elimination proceed to represent the provinces at the national championship, which takes place in Gauteng during the winter school holidays in June. Among other things, usually luminaries in choir conducting and traditional choral music composers are contracted. Professional voice trainers, we bring all those top people. The second one is artists in school programs. We call it AIS. Through the AIS program, artists assist creative arts teachers to complement and confidently teach the subject. The third one is Young Creatives. The Young Creatives program is the National Youth Service Program, NYSP, of the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. This provides opportunities for out-of-school youth who are actively involved in the cultural and creative industry. The Debit Fund is also another one. The Debit Fund program is a youth entrepreneur development which supports young people who participate in the cultural and creative industries. The CCI Youth Careers Expo, the Provincial Community Arts Centers program, the incubator program. So we have different programs that I've just mentioned that are alive at the moment. Programs that I have found there that the previous ministers has initiated, which I'm also adding the new ones now on the good work done by the previous ministers. So I'm adding my one, so there will be much more to report on the next time I come here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Finis, standing in for Mr. Finn.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the response to the question. Honorable Minister, can the department provide information on the priority platforms that are created to assist creatives in the international markets, especially for women and children? And do the creatives have a say on the type of capacity building programs that DSEC does to assist them?
Right. I can tell you the first one we are doing for this year, we are going to take crafters. We are going to take creatives that has never left even the province, but has been plying the trade. We're taking them to Vietnam through the Vietnamese ambassador. We're taking them to Singapore with the help of the Singaporean ambassador, South African ambassador in Singapore, the South African ambassador in Vietnam. We are speaking to the ambassador in France, Ambassador Natim Tetwa, to have an Africa Day. So what we are planning is to have Africa Day in most countries that are part of the G20. So we want to expose the biggest genre of music at the moment is Amapiano. Not in South Africa, throughout the world. Amapiano is taking over. Wherever you go, they play Amapiano. Now, how can we sit on our hands while this thing is exploding? We are now taking all these Amapiano artists that makes music in their rooms. We are taking them to Singapore. We are taking them to Vietnam, to France, to Gabon. We are taking them to different countries so that those artists, like we know international artists in South Africa, we want South African artists to be known internationally, because at the moment we must ride the wave. So, Honorable Finis, we have got programs where the touring program, when people are invited in competitions, that we pay for those people to get to where they are going to. We had artists in Russia exactly 2.5 months ago that went on their own steam to Russia to go and perform in Russia. And they were stuck at Dubai airport because the people didn't book, they missed their flight for 5 minutes and they couldn't change the ticket. We then assisted those artists to get to Russia and to get back. There was artists that were stuck in London, from George, I think, yes. So we are very actively involved in promoting South African artists abroad, because abroad, the artists from abroad, they get so much promoted in our country that we must also promote our artists. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Godsell from the Western Cape.
Minister, me again. Those are some great initiatives, Minister, but again, it's interesting that the ANC would ask a question that purports to advocate for the assistance to artists. So in the past 2 parliaments, the ANC-led government has used artists' livelihoods as a political football, in amongst other things, in the Copyright Amendment Bill. So here is the question, and it's either a yes or no if you want. Do you agree that government must urgently address the creative industry's concerns and finalize the bill in a way that truly protects the rights and the livelihoods of artists.
Yes, I do agree that government must finalize the bill, but let me tell you something about the Copyright Amendment Bill. As a writer of books and an owner of publishing houses previously in my life, I understand copyright. Now, in the Copyright Amendment Bill, there's a sentence there that says fair use. Now, that's a problem, because I can't go to McDonald's and buy a burger and say it's fair, I only have half the price. So those are the things we are changing in the Copyright Amendment Bill. And I'm also like you, that used to blame government for everything until I got there. And then I realized, no. Government did make the money available. It is the individuals that have stolen the money. But the intention of government was there. But one day, very far, when you become a minister, you'll understand that. And you'll get access to that. I'm done.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question is coming from Mr. Peter from the Eastern Cape.
Afternoon, Chair of the House. Evening, Honorable Minister. Your face gives so hope to South Africa, including me. Thank you, Minister. UDM acknowledge and appreciate the signing of MOU between your Department of Sport and Arts and Culture and the Basic Education, aimed at fostering talents in sport and in arts in schools, which you, Honorable Minister, has described as a vital first step in unlocking talents and boosting transformation. Now, my question is, what concrete progress has been made in implementing the MOU commitments? And the second one, what specific plans and targeted intervention are to be put in place to ensure that rural areas and underprivileged schools, especially those in Eastern Cape, benefit meaningfully from this agreement? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Honorable. Firstly, I must admit again for the second time that rural areas has been neglected. That one, we can't run away from it. We are, and when I say rural areas, I mean far-flung places. Like in Klaver, for instance, where we're opening a sporting facility this week. It has been neglected. And we are aware of that, and we intend to rectify that. As far as school sports concerned, you know, it is so sad that our children in the private schools, and my kids are in the private schools, they get all the opportunities. But we have failed the children in government schools. If you are talented, you've got a 90% chance of not being recognized. The Minister of Basic Education and myself, we got together. We said, how do we sort this matter out? We then signed first the MOU. Second, we said, let it find expression in our budgets. Because if there's no money budgeted for it, then it's just words. So we have now also bringing back the school sports on a more aggressive manner. But now when we read our budgets, there must be money ring-fence for school sports. And the third part is, you can't play sports without having a field. You can't play sports without having the equipment. You can't play hockey with a branch of a tree. So we need to use the money to get the equipment. We have just gotten a donation from China for table tennis equipment, which we will take to the rural areas that has never benefited, because maybe we'll find a table tennis champion there. I can assure you, Honorable, that school sport is the last and only hope for South Africa to be recognized as a powerhouse of sport and to change people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Machowen from the Eastern Cape.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you, Minister. Arts have struggled for years in this country without any assistance from the government. But you've mentioned, Minister, I hear you saying that you've mentioned your intervention. What have you done according to your intervention? My worries, Minister, is that it is very painful when you see talented people, when they die, their families start looking for the donations. It is very painful. All I'm saying is that I would love these interventions that you've mentioned here must bring a hope to our people and a support, not on paper. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable. What we've done, I want to show you clear examples. We have organized them now in a formation that has accountants, that has lawyers. Because people make a song, and that song goes top, and you get the person that made the song does not even have a change of clothes. Stories are untold. On my desk, I would be a failure if that story is not being produced, and I will share it with you. On my desk, I have a story, because what happens, particularly here in the Western Cape, there's a mafia in the Western Cape, in the movie industry. They keep black people out at all costs in the Western Cape. Stories of the Western Cape cannot be told if it's not going through that mafia. International artists are being told you only work with us or you will not get. But I'm going to crush that mafia. Let me show you one story, what we've done. There's so many rich stories that you don't get from the Eastern Cape, from Limpopo, from Mpumalanga, from the Northwest and the Free State. You only get stories from KZN, Western Cape, and Gauteng. Let me tell you what is the reason. The reason is because where they hire the equipment, they can't afford to drive these things to the rural areas. It's too much money, and it's too dangerous sometimes. What we've done now, we have put 30 million aside to buy equipment for rural areas. So rural areas can also make movies without the big cost that big cities are paying. So we have that now ring-fenced at one of our entities, the NFVF. A story that's on my desk, I couldn't believe the story has never been told. Somebody in the Eastern Cape has written a true life story about 5 brothers. The movie's name is Vulindlela. It's 5 brothers that come from a village, the Vulindlela brothers. All 5 of them were hanged by the apartheid regime. 1 mother, 1 father. The youngest one being 16 years. And they were hanged on one day by the apartheid regime. Their story, your tears will roll down if you read the script of the person that brought the proposal. And I want to mention it here because he said to me, Minister, please don't steal my work. So I'm saying here that he knows it's not my work. It is his work. Those are the rural areas is rich full of stories. We are now making it easy to do business for them because they can't afford to hire these videos, these cameras. It's very expensive. But we are bringing all these things to alleviate poverty. I can't come stand here next year and then others are still at the same position that I found them in. We have to move the needle and we have to move it hard and fast. Thank you, Honorable.
No, thank you, Honorable Minister. The next question is question 75 asked by Honorable Ngo from the KZN. That one on the issue of the abuse.
Right. I must be very honest. Abuse is still rife in sport. Sexual abuse, verbal abuse, and not only abuse, but also women are not being favored. when it comes to pay parity, the disparity with what men get and what females get. Men get sometimes 100 times more than what females get in sport. We have spoken to Cricket South Africa. We've told them they have to find a model to change that so that, like in the US soccer team gets the same as the US male team. What we've done was abuse. There is what we call, in our department, all the federations, we have got an organization called The Guardian in the federations to work with federations to establish policies and procedures to keep the girl child safe. But we are now adding another one called Khulikani. Khulikani is the most successful, in my opinion, from fight against GBV. And now we want to bring Khulikani, even in sport. When we meet them, we'll have representatives of Khulikani addressing the sporting facilities. We're also going to encourage a new hotline where women that gets abused, they must be able to call that instead of reporting to the seniors in sport. Because sometimes the seniors favors the coach and they're scared to lose the coach. We are now starting a new hotline where they can anonymously phone and say what happened with them. So it's a very serious, it's a national matter in sport and society. But there are several organs of state that are established to prevent and deal with the perpetrators. But in 2 weeks when we meet with the federations, that is top of the agenda. It is still a problem. It is still ongoing. And we can't just fold our arms. So we bring in 2 new initiatives to try to strengthen the fight against GBV. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The first take up on the follow-up question is Honorable Ngobo. She's on the visual platform.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Minister, what direct psychological, legal, and financial support services are currently funded or coordinated by the Department for victims of abuse in sports, especially for those for poor or rural backgrounds, or especially for those from poor or rural backgrounds who may lack access to justice and care? And what role is the department playing in collaboration with SAPS and the NPA to ensure that cases of abuse in sports are not handled internally or quietly, but are escalated to law enforcement and resolved transparently? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ngobo. What we've seen, there was already projects in place. We are now bringing in another project, which is Khulikani in sport. We are also bringing in a hotline where victims can report this. We're also going to run campaigns to encourage them to report any wrongdoing. And this is just what we do in the department. But national government is also rolling out different programs. It is a serious matter. It's a matter that we take serious, and it's a matter that we're going to address very strongly with action in the next 2 weeks. Thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Mukwile from Limpopo.
House Chair. Honorable Minister, we check our speed or people of Limpopo. Honorable Minister, thanks very much. Can your department provide us with the information on cases of abuse of athletes and the current status of cases in different provinces? Thank you.
All right. What we've done, I don't have that information with me at the moment. I'm also not aware what the law says. If you can mention the cases, that is still, I'm a bit unclear about what the law says in that matter. But I can assure you, as an honorable member, I will make sure that this House gets the information through the chair of the cases that are ongoing and the cases that are being investigated. But I don't have that information out of my head. All right. Sub judice.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Of course, if the question is of statistical nature, you cannot have it from your head like that. So you can just provide the answer in the written form.
I will, Honorable Chair.
All right, thank you. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Ryder from Gauteng.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. Minister, Danny Jordan has also had rape and sexual assault charges against him, but his abuse is extended beyond that to mental, financial, and even organizational abuse. He's been abusing football players and spectators and supporters for years. The evidence against him is substantial, and there was even a carte blanche expose. This month, he can't even pay salaries to the workers at SAFA. Minister, when are you going to give him the boot?
The first thing I want to say is that there has not been on my desk a matter of rape against Danny Jordan reported to me as the minister. I don't know of a case that's ongoing, but if there is, I will go find it. If there is really a case that has been made and that is before court for that. I doubt that is before court. But you know, there's a big problem that people don't understand. The majority of people in South Africa love football. The majority. Now, FIFA is very clear. They don't want government interference in the matters of football. I can tell you multiple countries that has been expelled. Now, imagine I'm the one interfering. Then football gets expelled in South Africa. But what I do believe in, I believe in our justice system. Banana Republic. He is before court today. We have written a letter to the president of FIFA and to Minister Danny Jordan, wanting guidance on what to do. But you are right when you say they couldn't pay salaries December. And I heard that countries want to take the best coach we've ever had, Hugo Bruce, because he's also not been paid his salary. The players has not been paid his salary. The women's football team has not been paid his salary. I, as the minister, then intervened. I advanced them 5 million, which they were supposed to get in April this year. I advanced that money to them in December to make sure we don't lose this good coach. The players of Bafana Bafana, and it's a national asset, but FIFA's got other rules. Hence, we've taken it upon ourselves to write to FIFA, to write to Danny Jordan, because we have to go through him to get to FIFA. And we say, we would like to have a meeting. I can tell you what our meeting is going to bring forth. We are going to ask FIFA, these are the allegations. This person is before court. What would you want us to do as government? That I don't want to overplay my power and to get us expelled tomorrow. And please, lastly, don't forget to watch Bafana Bafana tonight playing. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from Honorable Mpungose from Gauteng. She's on the visual platform. Honorable Mpungose. Honorable Makesini, the whip. Because we're going to have a problem, we're going to pass. This is the last question in the set. Oh, she's not.
Past chair, because she was supposed to go on virtual.
Where is she? They just check she's not on the platform. If there's anyone from the FF who want to take the slot, I'm going to count
Yes,
to 3.
Chair. Is that the question of Honorable Chairperson?
Thank you, Honorable Aris. You can take off.
Okay, which question is that, Chairperson? I've missed it now.
No, you can ask the question, Honorable Aris.
Come again, Chairperson. I can't hear you, Chair.
Honorable Aris, you can.
Yes, I can hear you,
replace
Chair, now.
Honorable Mpungose.
Which question is that, Chairperson?
No.
All right, thank you, Honorable Ellis. And then what we'll do, we did give EFF a fair chance for that matter, but we cannot stay on this question forever. Honorable Minister of Sports, the next question is coming from Honorable Sibande from Mpumalanga, question number 96.
Chairperson?
Why in the next
Chairperson, can
question
you hear
now?
me?
No, why in the next
Yes.
question? Honorable Minister? Honorable Aris, we are already in the next question. We cannot go back now. Honorable Minister, will
But
you please answer
Chairperson,
question number
I was
95?
having network problems, Chairperson.
Honorable Aris, will you please sit down? We are in the next question now. We gave you more than enough choice.
Just be reasonable. It was just the network. I'm not in
Honorable
control of
Minister,
the
will you please
network.
answer question number 95?
What? Honorable 96. Yes. The Department of Sport, Arts and Culture rolls out programs aimed at promoting, developing, and using all official languages through the National Language Service Unit. To promote languages, the department has the following projects. The Language Bursary Project that assists students who are studying language through partnerships with the following 9 universities. University of KwaZulu-Natal, Durban University of Technology, Nelson Mandela University, University of the Western Cape, University of Stellenbosch, University of the Witwatersrand, Tshwane University of Technology, University of the Free State, and University of Venda. National Language Stakeholder Engagement Forum, NLSEF. This brings together all 3 spheres of government to report on the implementation of language policies and pertinent issues that need attention and intervention in the language sector. The department celebrates and observes initiatives that are meant to promote all official languages and indigenous languages. African Language Week is 21 to 28 February, including International Mother Language Day, 21 February, to create awareness and promote multilingualism. International Translation Day, 30 September, draws attention to the importance of the work of translators, terminologists, interpreters, and language practitioners. The department has the following programs to develop all official languages. Terminology coordination, coordinates the development of terminology in all official languages in various fields, working with collaborators and experts in those fields. Human language technology supports the development of digital application tools to create greater access to information. Translating and editing, the translation and editing of official documents using all official languages. The department uses all official languages in a manner that equates equal status through the translation and editing of official documents. This contributes to multilingualism by facilitating government services, information, and programs that can be accessed in citizens' spoken languages of choice. Mine is Afrikaans.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question will come from Honorable Kaunda, standing in for Honorable Sibande.
Thank you, House Chair. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your adequate response. It is also encouraging to observe that the department is encouraging and celebrates the initiatives that are meant to promote different languages, official languages. What action has the department taken against those who disregard the implementation of correct language policies and suppress the use of the growth of other languages? And what is the role of the Pan South African Language Board in the development of the official languages? Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much. We've had a long-standing feud between me and the portfolio committee when it comes to constituting the PENSEP board, because I felt that there were doctors, there were people majoring in Afrikaans that was excluded from that board. Subsequently, I realized that it's out of my hands, but I fought that fight simply because I believe that all languages should be afforded equal treatment and equal respect. We have not taken action against anyone that disregard language, and it's against the promotion of language. It is something I'll have to look in to see do we have that mandate. But I can assure you, Honorable Counter, that language is very important, particularly that people should be taught in their mother tongue, the language they're most comfortable in. I believe that we've made great strides in that. We want all languages to, including languages that are not called business languages, because that's usually the excuse they are using. But no action has been taken by us. We will look into it, but I can assure you, Honorable Counter, that we take it very serious, that languages should be recognized, all different languages. We can't be talking about Mandarin and other languages while the homegrown languages still needs attention. I hear many people say we must have Mandarin, we must have... No, we'll get to those things. Let us first finish here at home our languages before we go and try the language of other countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question is coming from Honorable Brett from the Free State.
Dankie, agbare huisvoorsitter. Dankie, agbare minister. Ek het 'n vraag gehad, maar ek gaan in die lig van wat jy gesê het, gaan ek dit verander. En my vraag is dat u sal weet, ons het in elke provinsie is daar, elke wetgewer het die geleentheid gegee om te kies wat sy amptelike tale in daardie provinsie is. Ek weet byvoorbeeld in die Wes-Kaap het die wetgewer besluit dat hulle nie byvoorbeeld Afrikaans as een van hulle tale waarin dokumente versprei sal word, sal belangrik ag nie en dat hulle net vir Engels het. Wat gaan u as minister van Sport, Kuns en Kultuur doen waar dit so belangrik is om al ons tale in Suid-Afrika vir al ons 12 amptelike tale te bevoordeel? Hoe gaan jy seker maak dat ons wetgewers en ons provinsies daarby gehoor gee en dat ons nie op die ou einde van die dag nie 'n reënboognasie is nie, maar net shades of grey en net Engels is? Baie dankie.
Baie dankie. Dit is nou net iets geraak wat my baie ontstig en ontstel. Die Weskaap het besluit, hulle gaan nie Afrikaans as een van die tale insit, wat mense mee kan kommunikeer as dit kom by dokumentasie van die regering. Maar dieselfde mense in die Weskaap hardloop nasionaal toe en hulle sê Afrikaans word onderdruk. Maar die onderdrukking van Afrikaans is hier in die Weskaap. Dit is gevestig. Chair, can I just talk?
Honorable Barnhouse, please, don't disrupt the minister.
Honorable Barnhouse, on the level that's much higher than you, the people are complaining about languages.
Praat hy ding, minister.
Ek was by Freedom Park, saam met u leier, waar hy gekla het, saam met my, omdat Afrikaans nie kop toegevat word nie. U was nie daar nie. So as hy nie vir u gesê het, nou sê ek vandag vir u. Afrikaans. So die mense, hulle kla oor iets met die linkerhand, dan doen hulle dit met die regterhand. Ek stem volkome saam, dat alle tale, ek is baie veeltalig. Kiboa Sotho, Kiboa Pedi, Kiboa Zulu, Kiboa Xhosa, Kazama. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, there's nothing as disrespectful as not allowing a person to speak and communicate and learn in their own language. It is a great injustice. It is things that has been done by colonizers. They'll give you another name because your name is too difficult to pronounce. It's on the same lines. So ek kan vir u verseker dat alle tale sal 'n regmatige plek inneem in hierdie land van ons. Alle tale. En hulle sal regmatig behandel word. Hulle sal met die liefde en die nodige respek behandel word, of meneer Badenhorst dit like of nie like nie. Dit wys my wat deel van die wat Afrikaans onderdruk het hier in die Weskaap. Baie dankie, voorsitter.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question from Honorable Teza.
Thank you very much, Minister. When we have time, I'm going to tell the sad tales of artists that had the skill, like Victor Ntoni, who was an institution on his own and studied in Berkeley School of Music. And he was nowhere to be found. His skill did not match his resources. And there are many artists currently, like Happy Tswaeli, who have a lot of skill, but they do not have that. But nevertheless, that's an issue for another day, Minister. Let me deal with the question at hand today, the question of language. Minister, during apartheid, Afrikaans was institutionalized as an official language, using it as a tool for control and segregation, which led to the imposition of Afrikaans as a language of instruction in black schools, sparking the Soweto uprising. In front of me, I have a medicine, a multivitamin. It's written, "Sket goed voor gebrek."
Is it what, sorry, sir?
That's what it
Sorry,
says.
Honorable?
Sket goed voor gebrek. Hoe beter bereik van kinders. That shows the level of institutionalization. Today, there's also prevalence of this imposition in Mtombeni Primary School in Hluzi Township, Mpumalanga, due to the inherited hegemony of the Afrikaans as a language. In light of this, what is the extent of work that your department has done in collaboration with the Department of Basic Education in ensuring the same hegemony for indigenous languages while filtering in other marginalized indigenous languages such as Silobidu, isiPaca, isiMpondo as official languages in South Africa? Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you very much. Let me start with the most important one, because you have the medicine in front of you. We don't want you to incorporate. They say you must shake it properly before you use it. Thank you, Honorable. I think, with the PENSA board, the funding we give them is particularly to make sure that language got proper representation in all languages, including isiPhondo. All languages are important. It might not be important for me because I don't speak that language, or for you because you don't speak a language. But I want to come to a more deep point that you've raised. 1976, they forced children to be taught in Afrikaans. That led to the June 16 riots. It was wrong. It was inhumane to force people to write matric or any exam paper in a language that is not theirs. As it was wrong in 1976, it is still wrong today to force colored kids to speak in a language that's not theirs. The wrong has not changed. It's the same thing. It's just a different era. Afrikaans is not a language of the oppressors. I wrote my matric paper in Afrikaans, and everybody else that grew up with me speaks Afrikaans. Afrikaans is not, Afrikaans is also not, as this man says next to me, this honorable, their language. They've also taken this language like many other things. Afrikaans is a language of many. And a lot of kids drop out of school because they are being forced to speak a language that's not theirs. Particularly the community where I'm from. Do you know that the colored community has got honorable? They have the record of children that start school and not finish school. They have the record of children school-going age that's supposed to be in school but are not in school. We have the lowest amount of children enrolling into universities in this country. We have the highest amount of people suffering from alcohol-fetal syndrome. And I can tell you language is at the heart of that. because they know they're not going to succeed. They've never spoken English at their household. All of a sudden, they must come and write an exam. So I'm saying, as it was wrong in 1976, it is wrong today. Any child should be taught in a language. People that has never traveled, they still think English is a sign of intelligence. You have, we are just with the deputy president, we've just returned from Japan. We met the bosses of Toyota, Isuzu, Hitachi, and few of them know English. Few, probably 1 out of 7 people we met could converse in English. They spoke their home language, and nobody thought they are dumb. But if I come here and I speak broken English, I see one of my favorite politicians, what's his name? Papa Penny. I love that man, because he's so proud. When he speaks English, he doesn't care if he breaks it or he bends it. He makes his point.
That's why your time gets expired.
Yes, thank you.
It's broken now. All right. Honorable members, the next follow-up question is coming from Honorable Duplessis from Gauteng.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Baie dankie, edelagbare. En ek hoop jy het jouself sturdy gehou in Cuba nie. I just want to find out from you, you haven't explicitly mentioned access to languages for people with disabilities. It is something that needs to be explicitly mentioned. If it's not explicitly mentioned, we do tend to forget these very important languages like sign language and Braille. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I can't argue what you said. I've not explicitly mentioned it. I have made business cards, and my chief of staff then took them back because it was not in Braille. And she made me business cards that anybody can read and understand. My not mentioning it here is in no way an indication of how we take it. It is important. I can tell you numerous funds when we went through the budget last week that is earmarked for that. In fact, we are building, we're giving, I'm speaking under correction, another 50 million for the library for the blind and deaf to enhance that library. And I hear the Honorable next to me keep on talking about Cuba, and you've also mentioned Cuba. Honorable, don't believe everything you read. I've not been to Cuba. I've been here. The newspapers say I went on a joyride. I've never been to Cuba in my life. I intend to go to Cuba. I was not part of that Cuban trip that they said I went on a joyride. But that's the media. And this one, Honorable here next to me, he laps everything up except the mistakes of the DA. So I've not been to Cuba, Honorable. It's a lie that the media is telling people. I've not been there. I wasn't part of that, and there was no money wasted. Because why is the problem when artists and writers are going to Cuba to a book festival, but here, your premier has gone to New York with your mayors? We don't even know what they did there, but nobody says it's a problem. We are asking how much the trip cost. Till today, we don't know how much the trip cost. I tell you how much the trip cost to Cuba. Why can't you tell us how much the trip of your Premier Ellen Wendy and his cabal he went with? How much did that cost? Yeah. I'm not...
Honorable Kosel, don't disrupt the minister, please. You can continue, Minister.
Oh, thank you, Chair. So when we are being asked, why do you want to act like, this thing is really very bad? Chairperson, we go to meet the people of the F1, for instance. We say we are ready to host the Olympics, to host the F1. We're meeting the Olympics committee. We say we are ready to host that. Then, while we are there, you see in the newspapers, South Africa doesn't have money for a flight. Now these people ask us there, how are you going to host this thing if people are complaining about the ticket? But when they fly, in the Western Cape, they've been flying undisturbed. Nobody disturbing, they flying up and down. But the moment black people, you think we're starting to fly planes with, you think I'm starting to fly planes with becoming a minister. You talk about economy class. I'm starting to fly business class since I'm a minister. I flew first class before I was a minister. Go and check the records. So don't act like we black people, we don't know these things. We on joyride. We're going to work like you go to work. Your skin doesn't make you work harder than us. Yeah. One last sentence I want to tell him with your permission. The problem that you are having, when you look at a black person, you see corruption. Like we are going there on holiday. You know, my son asked me, how's Japan? I said, I don't know, I haven't even seen Japan. Because I was in meetings. I'm so tired of this thing. Every time a black person fly, it's a joyride. What are you doing? Must I take with a craver? Must I go with a wheelbarrow to London? Come on. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable delegates, I would really like to thank the Minister and the MECs and all the permanent delegates and special delegates and Salga for availing themselves for this sitting. Honorable delegates, that concludes the business of the day. The House is adjourned.
Can I just give you the right information? He just said something. I want to rectify him. He said,
Recording stopped. Good afternoon, Advocate Nunani. Will there be a debriefing or can I end the meeting for all?
I don't think there'll be a debriefing.
Good afternoon, Ms. Nana. Okay, then I'll end the meeting for all.